Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. We are back after a little week-long break, and it feels great. We have so much to talk about. Jenna Wolf, Nick Wright, Kevin Wilds, Chris Broussard is with us. Questions we are asking ourselves on a Monday morning. Are the Raptors actually a better finals bet than the Lakers at this point? Why is Zion frustrated with his Pelicans team? And is Aaron Rodgers' time in Green Bay nearing an end? We will get to all of that, but we start this morning with all of James Harden and the Houston Rockets facing Giannis and the Bucks last night. Here we go, pick it up in the fourth, under 2 minutes to play. Houston down one. Harden stripping Giannis for the steal. The Beard finding Russell Westbrook in transition, 2 of Russ's 31 points on the night. Now, under 20 seconds to play, and with the Bucks still down one, Giannis, another costly turnover. Giannis finished 36 and 18, but he could not get it done late. Bucks, though, still with a chance. Chris Middleton from deep to tie. It is no good. And the Rockets hold on to win 120 to 116. Nick, the Rockets 2-0 in the restart. You said all along they can make a legit run this postseason. Does this go ahead and prove that?
Well, for many, I'm sure it doesn't prove it, but it's not just that they're 2-0. It's the way they've won those 2 games. Down 7 with 45 seconds left in the first game of the restart against the Mavs. Teams were like 2 and 811 in that circumstance. In recorded NBA history, they win. Down 8 with less than 3 minutes left against the best team in basketball, the Bucks. They go on a 16-4 run to close it. And I am so glad that my man Chris Broussard is here today. In fact, it was so important to me. Last night, the moment the buzzer sounds, I did something I don't normally do. I call our ace producer, Sam Pepper. I figured he might be up Googling with the latest travesty with his beloved Mets. I was right. I get him on the phone and I say, hey, Pep, make sure, is Broussard on the show tomorrow? He said he is. I said, thank goodness. Because you know what needs to happen? Chris Broussard needs to put some respect on the Rockets' name.
Oh, boy. Chris
Broussard needs to acknowledge that there is no template, there is no established path to beating this team. How about this? In NBA history, 177 times going into last night, this is via Elias, a team had allowed 110 points or more, under 40% from the field, and been out-rebounded by 25 plus. Those teams were 0 and 177 until last night, the Rockets, because they're not playing a different sport than everyone else, but it's damn close. And this style plus a rejuvenated Russ, a absolutely tireless James Harden, it's going to create problems for everyone, Broussard. And if all of a sudden they are late game closers, look out to your beloved Clippers. Look out, everyone in the league, because you do have 2 of the 10 best players in basketball and a system that no one else prepares you for.
First of all, I have said all season long that the Rockets are the 3rd best team in the West. I have always said that, the 3rd best team in the West. And you didn't answer the question. For all your hooting, all your hollering, all your braggadocio, you didn't answer the question. Can they make a deep playoff run? And the reason you didn't answer it is because you know to make a deep playoff run, they would have to get past your Lakers. Because right now, Nick, that is who they would meet in the second round, not the Clippers. They're the 4 seed right now. They'd meet the Lakers in the second round. Now, I have contended all along that their problem is they won't beat one of the LA teams. And I would not pick them over the Lakers. However, if I had to say between the 2 LA teams, which one they have a better chance of beating, it would be the Lakers. The Lakers have problems defending on the perimeter. LeBron's great when he needs to be, but LeBron can't guard everybody. Who else is going to guard on that perimeter? And guess what? When you play the Rockets, you better be able to guard on the perimeter. That's the Lakers' Achilles heel, and that could be a problem. Again, I wouldn't pick them over LA, but if they gonna beat one of the LA teams, it would be the Lakers. And so that's what you have to watch out about. Look, the energy is great. Russ keeps defenses off balance, And then the three-point shooting is just, look, they put up so many, even if they only hit 33, 34%, it's still effective. That's how they've gotten back in these games that they've been down on. And their defense late has been good. So I will give them credit for that. Again, I've liked Houston, just not as much as the LA team. And now I know you're silent. I don't hear, but what if they meet the Lakers in the second round? Then what about that?
No, listen. Well, I don't think they beat the Lakers. The Lakers are going to win the title, but they're the 4 seed right now, it's true, but there is such a logjam 3-6 that they could end up 3, 4, 5, 6. And while, listen, Broussard is doing it. Listen, this is why he's a seasoned television professional. Probably one of the reasons he has an NBA vote and I don't, because he knows how to play these linguistic games, which is, I've had them as my third favorite. It's like saying they're my third favorite pet. You have 2 dogs you've had for a decade and then a parakeet. And you're like, it's my third favorite pet. Yeah, but you don't give a damn about them. Listen, I will go on the ledge. You won't, Broussard. If they play the Clippers in the playoffs, they'll win. If they play the Clippers in the postseason, they'll win. Now, listen, maybe they do end up the 4. They get the Lakers in round 2 and they end up losing because I don't think they can beat the Lakers. But I think they are right now not one of the 3 best teams in the West. As I've said all year, they are the 2nd best team in the West Wilds. And I think the end of that game last night went to show you why.
Yeah, I thought the end of the game was a little bit weird. And we can show the play. The rebounding is really the Achilles heel of this entire team. Like the game, this should be a tie game here. There's Giannis with 4 rockets and the Korver's in the corner. If he makes that pass, this is a different game. We know Giannis is not the best passer in the world, but that's an easy play there, and he missed it. Nick, I think you were a little bit too happy when a team gets out-rebounded by 29 and still wins the game. That's a rare occurrence, and I know you use it as an example of how they're great, but it's been 5,357 games between the last 2 dates that has worked. So I think this game is an aberration. I don't think they're the parakeet of the NBA, as you've referred to them as, but I don't believe in the Rockets because they're able to, the stats just don't work on the rebounding side, Nick.
Go ahead, Jenna. I apologize. Go ahead.
All right. We spent some time focusing on the Rockets.
The three-point shot
is the equalizer. Make your point, Broussard.
Rebound. Yeah, the three-point shot is somewhat of an equalizer because Dallas out-rebounded them badly, too.
So we mentioned Giannis's numbers last night. They were great. 36 points, 18 boards, 8 assists. It wasn't enough for the win because it wasn't enough late in the game. Although, according to Giannis, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Take a listen to what he had to say after the game.
I said earlier to learn from this. It's good to play close games. We don't play a lot of close games in the other 65 games that we played. So, got to keep learning, got to keep executing.
So Giannis makes a good point. The Bucks do have the most 10-point wins this season. They're just not used to having to close out games. Nick, anything for Milwaukee to be worried about after this loss last night?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to overreact, but the only reasons you would, because Wild just pointed this out all year. The Bucks have a historic statistical resume. Giannis is having a historic statistical season. And so why aren't they the overwhelming favorite to win the title? They have an easier path than the Lakers do. All the numbers say they should be overwhelming favorite. And it's because of 2 little buts that both reared their head late in the game yesterday, which is, one, they don't play a lot of close games, so they don't have a lot of experience playing a lot of close games, and you're not going to roll through every round of the playoffs via blowout. And the other one is, listen, Giannis was 36, 18, and 8 last night. He was magnificent. However, because of his lack of any type of reliable jump shot, you can if the games are close, Broussard, it is probably going to come down to other guys hitting shots. Defense is collapsing on Giannis, doubling Giannis, and forcing the ball out of his hands. Now, one way to avoid that, Chris, is to make sure those games aren't close. In which case, what I would say is to Budenholzer, you got to play Giannis more minutes. Played 32 minutes last night. And part of his MVP case is, he's doing it in 30 minutes. In the playoffs, he's got to be able to play 40. And he's got to get ramped up to that. I looked it up. He's played 37 minutes, Broussard, twice all year long. For context, James Harden has done it 36 times, LeBron 20 times, Kawhi Leonard, who I'm not even certain enjoys playing basketball, did it 9 times. So, for a guy, he's got to start ramping up those minutes. This wasn't a blowout. They could have used him when he was resting. So those are my concerns for the Bucks, Broussard.
Look, Nick, it took 12 minutes, but finally you started making a little bit of sense on this show. So I will agree with you on that. I think in the playoffs, Giannis will play he'll play bigger minutes. He'll have to in the playoffs because you're absolutely right. And you're right about why they struggle down the stretch is because if teams can keep Giannis from finishing at the basket, then you're right. Somebody else is going to have to hit those shots.